there is that bounce that we were expecting on this chart. I'm going to be breaking down for you in this video exactly how high this thing could be going, or are we going to be reversing back down to the downside? There are a lot of things to cover with this bounce, but the first key thing to get out of the way is that this was very, very clear that we were going to get it. Now, I was certainly expecting the bounce to come in at perhaps slightly lower levels because this is, as I've said many times, one of those empty liquidity ranges, but still no surprise. We were very, very overdue to get a bounce like this. And if we measure this from the low to the high, I'm not going to be counting this wick over here because this was more of a mistake. This was a 14% move to the upside within about 6 hours, and it happened very, very quickly. You know, what I also like about this is that when we saw this, I mean, the fear and greed index hasn't really had a chance to update yet, but just as of now, it's at a reading of 12. And so, you know, people haven't really gotten very bullish about this, which is absolutely great. But what I think is good just for the very short term, before I talk to you about all the very deep, intricate things about this situation on the chart right now, is that this was a range of essentially consolidation for Bitcoin on the way down. We were able to draw this and predict perfectly where we would find support and resistance just by looking at the chart previously. If you're already subscribed, if you've been hitting up the bell, the like button and all that, you're going to know exactly what I was talking about right there, so I'm not going to recap it right now. But what I like seeing about this pump right here is, I mean, yeah, first of all, there's a nice little bit of volume coming in, but also we managed to peak up towards $38,000, and look at how we've slowly moved back down, now potentially finding support at the very top of the range that was previously offering Bitcoin a little bit of resistance on 3 separate occasions right here on the hourly time frame, now potentially flipping that as support, which is one of the most typical bullish things that any chart for Bitcoin can do. Not only that, but if we look at the hourly time frame Ichimoku cloud, which you guys know is an indicator which I was saying could offer resistance to Bitcoin, but I mentioned that I'm not too worried about it. I'll tell you why in just a moment. The thing is if we look at how we've been interacting with this resistance cloud right now, it's not been too bad. I mean, usually if we're in such a bearish trend, we would hit the cloud and just immediately get smacked right back down. That hasn't happened today. We're still trading inside of the cloud. It is still offering us resistance, but we are probably going to see this closing up towards the end of January, and at the moment we're doing fairly well with it. Unfortunately, that's not something super good in my opinion. We were already expecting that we would, you know, not have much of a problem with this Ichimoku cloud purely because, you know, we're so overextended, right? And so a 14% move to the upside, in my opinion, isn't enough, you know, and we're already showing some signs on these very short-term timeframes that we might be able to continue higher with, like I said, for example, this, you know, retest of old resistance potentially becoming new support right now. I mean, we're going to know this very clearly within a few hours if Bitcoin starts rallying up again. And then, of course, keeping in mind that we shouldn't really be expecting too much resistance in this range. The Ichimoku cloud is here, yes, but the Ichimoku cloud, like any other algorithmic indicator, cannot explore nuance. We know, because, you know, we've been watching this channel for a long time, and we're just exercising, you know, fairly basic common sense, really, that this range is a range where Bitcoin doesn't really fluctuate much. It just goes all the way up and then all the way down and all the way up and all the way down and fake out right here, but then all the way up and all the way down. Bitcoin just generally doesn't mess around in this range. If it's trading in this range, it's only trading in the range for a short time before it goes up to the very next level, or it goes down to the very next level. And so I'm not expecting Bitcoin to have too much trouble in this range. One of the things that we could be doing right now, though, is, yeah, potentially forming an even larger, you know, for example, rising channel like this, an ascending channel, or in other words, a rising wedge, before potentially breaking down again. I'll talk to you about that stuff a little bit later on, but one of the first key things that I want to talk about right now is actually how we've had bounces like this before. You know, all I was saying really in these videos where I was calling for this bounce over and over and over, and you'll see this if you look at my channel, guys, the videos have been mostly quite bullish here for Bitcoin, telling you guys, you know, watch this if you're scared, because I was there to reassure you guys last night that obviously I think we are expecting, or should be expecting, a bounce, and how Bitcoin, you know, you'll change the way. This is a video you need to watch, by the way, if you missed it. It's a 21-minute video, but it's super informative. It is, in my opinion, one of the best videos I've ever made on this channel, so please do watch it. just by clicking on my channel icon. Again, those of you who are subscribed, you would have already caught these things and you would have watched it, more importantly, at an important time. You want to be able to watch these videos before the pump happens, not afterwards. And so if you are subscribed, you'll know all about that. Thank you all for your support and smashing up the likes. I really do appreciate you all. The key thing though is that as I was saying, I mean, we'd get a bounce that I was expecting either as a relief rally before we find some more resistance at key resistance zones like 40,000, for example, or we would be getting a bounce which would actually trigger a major reversal and the trend would shift to the upside. Now, I obviously don't think that we're doing the second thing right there, but I also concede that I'm probably going to be wrong about predicting whether that's going to come or not. You know, generally, it's very hard to predict when markets reverse. I was completely wrong over here, although I was fairly correct about it in this range as well. I did make a mistake at the very top, I won't lie. But in this whole range, I was more skeptical than most people, but I completely fucked it here, and I was very, very sure that Bitcoin is going down to 20K, right? So generally, at these major market reversal points, even good analysts get them wrong, and I think that's very important to keep in mind. Most good analysts that I know got these wrong, and that's just because they're really, really hard to predict, right? And my job as a trader here is to make my life easy, not difficult. I think a lot of people forget that because they're not good traders or they're not experienced, and they think that trading needs to be extremely difficult. It doesn't. Trading is only as difficult as you make it. This is one of the first key things that I preach inside of VIP when you join, and you're going to see that by taking advantage of our 50% discount that's running right now. If you want to gain access to VIP for half price on our Bitcoin price, which is half price on the dollar price from its all-time high, you're getting a huge discount right now. You're essentially getting half price twice, which is absolutely amazing. And if you want to be able to take advantage of it, you already know what to do. Follow these steps on screen, get access to the latest information on pricing and benefits. We have been doing very, very well. Just very recently, I've just made a beautiful trade on Cardano, looking to rip another one. I did suffer 2 losses at the beginning of this year as well, but they were controlled. Cardano gain has pulled it back a little bit, which is absolutely amazing. And of course, we've seen some pretty beautiful results. This person who joined VIP on the 18th of January, so just a few days ago, a week ago, within 4 days, mentioned that she has been able to already pay off the cost of joining VIP, and then mentioning that she's a girl, but she has bigger balls than most of these pansy men, which I absolutely love. We love a little bit of sass inside of 𝗓𝗡ly's VIP. Gotta have a little bit of attitude. It's part of the fun. So if you want to jump inside, these are the steps to take advantage of that massive discount. Here's the thing though, moving us back to Bitcoin, you know, when we hit levels like this, you know, Bitcoin has had quite a few fairly strong reversals. I want to really bring this to your attention quite clearly. We had a strong reversal right here, but the market tanked again. We had a strong reversal right here, but the market tanked again. And again, it tanked, and again, it tanked, and again, it tanked. Now, what we didn't do is we didn't continue correcting in terms of price. This is very important. When a trend is correcting, i.e., you know, when we move up massively, we need to have some sort of correction to reel it back in, bring us back to reality before we can continue moving in the uptrend. We have 2 forms of corrections that we can experience. Number 1 is a price-based correction. So that's when the market is crashing down like this. Number 2 is a time-based correction, which is where we're not really doing anything with our price. We're just basically fluctuating in a very shitty, painful range, but we're not actually dropping. We could be looking at the beginning of that time-based correction right now. I'm not saying that we're in it. It would almost be too perfect if we had another time-based correction right here and then we ended up rallying back up again. I don't know what I would make of that. That would be really strange. It would certainly be the first time I've ever seen that on a Bitcoin chart. But what I am absolutely saying is that this is a very clear pattern of how we can keep setting the same low over and over and over again and then find a major market reversal, which is to say that I don't have faith that this bounce is going to hold. If it didn't hold, I also wouldn't be surprised if we came back a little bit lower and found another support bounce again. Bitcoin does this all the time, and you don't really take note of it unless you actually look for it, because you just got biases in your mind that stop you from seeing stuff like this. But I'm here to remove those biases. That this is what the 𝗓𝗡ly's channel is all about. You know, the trading and analysis looks really easy in hindsight when you're studying this stuff from a book, or you know, using a teacher that doesn't actually trade in the market, so they don't understand how difficult it actually can be. But When you've got someone like myself who is a real trader trading consistently all the time, you know, I do know how these markets can be very misleading, and I'm here to bring that to your attention before it misleads you, so that you can you can protect yourself adequately. And the kind of pump that I think we're in right now almost could look a little bit like this. Or actually, I have an even better idea. I want to show you what happened back in 2018, because what happened back in 2018, I think, is exactly what Bitcoin could be in right now. It was this pump up right here. If I move this onto the 4-hour time frame, the time frames are a little bit different, but it doesn't really matter. What we had was quite an aggressive sell-off, right? Fairly similar to what we're in right now, and we suddenly started getting a nice bounce up. But it was only temporary, although it was the first real bounce that we had in a while. We were trading at $6,000, fell down to 5, and we just traded sideways. It was an abysmal range. Those of you who were in 𝗧𝗢𝗡𝗧𝗏 VIP all those years back, we're talking about 3.5 years ago, so we've been around for a long time. You're going to remember that I pulled a beautiful 60% profit trading this move. I could have made a lot more, but I fucked it up. But 60% is still nice. What happened then is Bitcoin, it was just trading sideways, dropped again with a dirty waterfall sell-off, consolidated, dropped again, consolidated, dropped again, and then had a, you know, its first real reaction rally coming off the 3.5k level, rallying all the way up to 4.4, which is a fairly substantial percentage gain if we measure this from low to high. That's a 26% move up, and it's the first real reaction rally we had, which is the point I want to make, since we dropped below $6,000. So this temporarily offered a little bit of relief. Sure, people didn't really necessarily believe that it was going to be the bottom. We were still hearing price predictions of $1,000, and even I was saying price predictions like that because I was also wrong. Like I said, a lot of very, very good analysts get these things wrong at market extremes. You need to keep this in mind, right? It's not like you're going to find one saving grace that gets everything right. They just don't exist. But if you look at what happened next, we managed to sweep that low and set a new low just slightly lower. This is very, very important to take note of, ladies and gents. If we fall, when we fell below this low, we didn't catapult down to $2,000. This low was set at 3.5. We didn't catapult down to $2,000, $1,100 or anything like that. We just fell a little bit lower, and that was enough. And then we started our time-based correction. Look at this. See that? How the market drops just a little bit, and that's our low. That is the lowest point that Bitcoin has been at over these past years, and we haven't returned back down to that low. It looked like we would, right on this move over here where we got very close, but we didn't quite do it. Where is that move? I think it's this move right here, yeah, where it looked like we would sweep that prior low at 3,100, but we only came down to about 3,300, and then the price continued moving up again. Very, very important notes, I think, in this market right here. How, yeah, look at that. That's where the market was saved. And again, this was the last time Bitcoin had ever traded at $3,300, and it was in 2019. And we just haven't returned back down to that low again. I think that's an important thing that I just wanted to show you right now for this chart at the moment, because I know for a fact a lot of people are going to be losing memory of this. And yes, obviously, I want to be here to remind you of how these things have moved in the past. You know, it doesn't mean that the dump is over. It can mean that the dump is slowing down and that we're towards an end. And I certainly think that that's the case. I would be surprised if we drop below 30,000 as it stands right now. I might change that opinion later on. The more we trade in this level, the more we test this level, if we test it at all, the more I will be likely to change my mind. But from what I'm seeing right now, we've seen a nice little reaction rally. We've got a little bit of support here. And actually, if we zoom in a touch closer, you're actually going to start to see that we potentially have a little bit of support right here on the 1-hour EMA ribbon, for example. Take a look at this. Now, there's not a huge spread, so I definitely can't give this too much credit at the moment, but the point still stands that we are going to potentially have a little bit of very short-term bullish momentum backing us right now. It's so fragile, it's so delicate, so absolutely nothing has to come out of this. I just want to make that very, very clear. But again, if we do see something come of it, we are looking at targeting that high $40,000 range, for example. So very, very important note that I wanted you guys to be aware of. Something interesting that I also noticed, by the way, is that in the altcoin market, we haven't seen a big jump up in these altcoin valuations, right? Ethereum against Bitcoin is close to its lows at 0.066, meaning that it cost 0.066 BTC to buy one Ethereum token. Cardano, similar story. It's actually still losing value against Bitcoin Tron. Similar story. It's still quite low. I just wanted to bring this stuff to your attention just to show you that actually, on this particular leg up, altcoins are not rallying, which is great because that means, again, the market is still quite scared. Like I showed you with the fear and greed index, we're not seeing a big change in sentiment right now. Obviously, this needs to update. We're not going to get the real data until the fear and greed index updates properly after the price action, but we're already seeing indications of how scared people are generally, which again doesn't mean that we're done, by the way, right? Like this dump can still overall continue for sure, but in terms of finding a little bit of temporary relief but people not believing in it, that's good. We need more of that, right? When this big rally began, I just want to remind you guys, when this big rally began off $29,000 right here, a lot of people didn't believe in it. A lot of people didn't believe in it. That's usually how it goes. Just want you guys to keep that in mind right now. Very, very important. We look at the March coronavirus market crash of 2020. And again, similar story. When this big dump happened and Bitcoin made its subsequent recovery, let me just show you this chart right here. Right here, Bitcoin made its subsequent recovery. Nobody believed in this rally. Even I didn't. It took me a long time to get convinced by this rally. I think it was only like over here where I started to think, actually, it doesn't look like we're going to be dropping back down again. So a lot of people didn't believe in the rally when it first started to come back up. Very, very important to keep note of this stuff. If you don't pay attention to these things right now, you could get caught out pretty severely in a market like this. And so again, like I said, this is my objective here, is to point out what things can be misleading you before they mislead you, so that you don't have an opportunity to be misled and pushed in the wrong direction. Very, very important stuff in my opinion. So there you go, guys. That is the main thing that I wanted to cover with you all just now in this video. I promised you a Bitcoin bear market video, and I keep getting delayed because there's a lot of price action. I'm probably going to make that video just today, later tonight. So make sure you're subscribed if you want to hear my thoughts on why I don't believe we're in a conventional Bitcoin bear market, and why I still believe we're going to reverse back up much sooner than people believe. I have quite a few very strong points for it. Doesn't mean I'm right. Absolutely does not mean I'm right. But I do want to put these ideas out there so that they get the acknowledgement that they deserve, because I think a lot of people are potentially getting a little bit too bearish. You already know the deal. This is a beautiful trading range. This YouTube channel with the public videos is only about analysis. Analysis is only 50% of the game if you're a trader. The other 50% is actually trading. And so if you want to see how I'm trading, how I'm navigating these markets, my webcam is freezing up, which is very annoying. If you want to see all of that, then you can do so by clicking on the first link in the description down below. That's going to take you to my free 𝗧𝗡 Gold channel, where you get even more analysis from myself and my team. And then click on the @𝗧𝗡 button at the bottom of any post inside of 𝗧𝗡 Gold. Click on send message to ask me how to join, and we'll get you inside. We've got, I think, over 1,100 members right now, which is absolutely amazing. And inside of our free channel, which is just with the first link right here, we have now passed 21,500 members. So that is a huge percentage of those of you who are subscribed to this YouTube channel, which is very, very impressive. Might not sound like a lot, but having around 20% or whatever this is right now to convert into a free channel like this is phenomenal. So thank you all for your support. And like I said, if you want to take this thing to the next level, really learn how to trade from A to Z, build your skills up in a very strong and solid way, the way many of our other VIP members have been able to do, you can do it now for 50% off. So definitely take advantage of it. And I just want to remind you guys again, those of you on the yearly package, obviously you'll be getting phone calls with me whenever you like. So if there's something in particular that you want to go through, if you want to, one of the things I like to go through is just look at your previous decisions that you've made and so on, and we can have a discussion about that, which is usually extremely beneficial. That alone can make back the cost that you've paid in terms of preventing losses and potentially maximizing gains and so on. That is available to you guys in the yearly package if you would like to use that. So there you go. That is on offer right now, 50% off. It's time limited, and so is the Bybit offer, where you can get just over $4,000 for free by signing up using my link in the description down below and making your first Bitcoin deposit. So definitely check that out as well if you would like to get a little bit of free cash deposited into your account and you can play around with that. You can do whatever you like with it. That's free money, and this is also time limited, so do take advantage of it while you can. All right, guys, I really hope you have enjoyed this one. You know what to do if you have. I'm sorry for the webcam bugging out again. I've had a beautiful streak where the webcam was working well, and now that streak appears to have come to an end. But I will work on it again. I found a fix, and I will find another fix. I will power through. All right, guys, thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.